Hello, family. Welcome back to the African Diaspora News Channel. I am Wongel Zelalem, and today we're here with another live stream. Today's topic is about a recent story that just came out today, actually. Kenyan lawmakers, who are the members of parliament, accusing British soldiers of committing heinous crimes in Kenya. Some of these heinous crimes, we've covered it here on African Diaspora News Channel, but some of them are just outrageous, and they came out in a report, a 92-page report that the lawmakers have been working on for 92 sorry, not 92, for 2 years. And within that 2 years, the amount of complaints, the amount of accusations that came out of from the community where these British soldiers are based in is numerous, and some of it we'll try to cover today and talk about. I am seeing some of your comments here. Let me address them and then we'll get into the story. LGBT said colonizers are being colonizers. They smell gold or oil and they're like flies on Shiza. And then Gamer said the Kenyan people is accountable for this. They know who William Ruto is. They saw their country is a Western colony, but they did not do nothing against Ruto. Well, this story doesn't only begin when William Ruto took power. This has been happening for decades. It's just now being brought up, and it's being discussed, as well as the lawmakers are talking about it. By the way, some of the cases, as I said, we've covered, like the Agnes Wanjiru murder. She was killed in 2012, allegedly, by a British soldier. We have to say allegedly because the case is still in court. And he just recently, last month, got arrested. How many years later? 15 years later. And she still didn't get her justice because he is claiming that he is innocent. We'll talk about that case a little bit as well, if it's new to you, that if you're watching this and you don't know about that case, we've covered it quite a bit. Agnes Wanjiru was a 22-year-old young woman in Kenya, and she was found dead in a septic tank. And when her body was found, some British soldiers came out anonymously and gave their testimony. They said that they knew who did it. It was one of their colleagues, a fellow British soldier. They said that he admitted, he confessed to them about what happened. But until last month, we didn't even know who the person was. The British soldier was being protected by the army because of, apparently they have this policy that they can't share the profile or the person's information. But this is a murder case, and it has taken 15 years to arrest that one man. So that's been happening. It's not just now in a few years. That's what I wanted to point out. But in this 94-page report that I just mentioned, the atrocities or the committed crimes, some of the crimes that are being reported are killings, assaults, public fights, fatal traffic accidents, as well as earlier, as I mentioned, there are sexual abuses. Kenyan women are being targeted allegedly by this British soldiers for their pleasure. They will not take no for an answer, and there are so many cases, but justice still till this day have not been served. Some of them, even had to carry this men's children, and now they have mixed kids in that community, which is, everyone, almost everyone is black in that community. It's a known fact when it's a mixed kid who comes from, and for the most part, it's the British soldiers that are committing these crimes in Kenya, in foreign land. And the thing is, you might be asking, why are they there in the first place, right? We have to go way back to answer that question. Firstly, Kenya was colonized by the British, right? And once colonization was over, even the fight that Kenya had to put up to end the colonization, like they've unalived so many people during that time. The Mau Mau movement can be mentioned as one of them. They have unalived their heroes, the people that were fighting for the rights of people. After that era was over and Kenya got its independence, now, of course, colonization can't be done directly. So it has to be given a name. It has to be like, it has to be dressed up. So now the new thing comes. The new thing is they're claiming why the British soldiers are here in Kenya is because they want. There's a military cooperation. They are trying to train Kenyan soldiers, and I think about like 1,000 Kenyan soldiers every year get trained by this British soldiers, and they're also training the British when they were asked why Kenya, why did you choose that specific place to train your soldiers, because even the British soldiers get trained in Kenya, right? So when they're being trained in Kenya, the authorities said the reason why they chose Kenya and that specific place is because of the environment and the desert and everything that the British doesn't have, they have. So they need that terrain, that mountain, that what Kenya has naturally God given resources. They want to use that to train their own soldiers. Apparently, in the UK, they can't do that well. So, yeah, that is the reason that they have given. And to mention a few of the things that they are doing in Kenya, let me just let you know. So, why are they in Kenya now? We just talked about. These are, in theory, I like how, this article put it. In theory, this is what the British Army say their purpose is in Kenya. Okay, it is the first one they claim is training of infantry, mechanized and light role unit under realistic, demanding conditions. So Kenya has the realistic condition that they need to train. So that's why they have their trainings here. And the other one is joint operations and training with the KDF, which is the Kenyan force, to strengthen regional security cooperation. Hmm. So the second one is joint operation and training, which the people, especially the locals that are around that training area, debunk that. They say, and I quote, occupying presence. That's how they label these British soldiers, even though they're there as to work in unity and to train and to be in like a fair, like how do you say it, like a give and take, like a relationship that is equal, even though partnership is the word I'm looking for. Even though they're supposed to be there in partnership, that's not really what's happening, according to the people that are around that area, or where the base is located. They claim that they act like an occupying force rather than they're there for partnership. So they belittle the people. They believe that they're above the people. Um, uh, they are, what's the word I'm looking for, they act like they're there to do the people a favor, but also to reign over them, not to partner with them. And that you see in what they're doing, like the accusations, the list of accusations that we just talked about are killings. And like it's like they don't value the lives of the civilians, the people that are around there, right? The murders, the rapes, they believe that they run that town. And from what we can see, they have been doing it for decades. No one has stopped them. Now there's a little bit of pushback. So, this is the time I think Kenyans need to stand up to refuse this treatment and not allow it to continue, because it has been going on for far too long. And the third one, this is the funniest thing that you will hear. They claim, okay, the British Army claims that they're in Kenya with this British soldiers. What they're trying to do is, and I quote, supporting community and humanitarian style outreach, engineering, medical clinics, civil military projects in remote areas and underserved regions of Kenya. So basically, they're there to support the community and humanitarian outreach. Like, come on now. The people quite literally are saying, leave our country. We're tired of your treatment. They're not only committing all these atrocities, they are also committing environmental atrocity. Why, you might ask, and how are they really hurting the environment in Kenya? they have been accused of, and by the way, they have admitted to doing this because of a post by a TikTok. Like I'll tell you that in a little bit. But what they did was almost unforgivable. They burnt down during their training, and according to them, it's an accident. They burnt down 12,000 acres of forest. Like, it was burnt down because of them. Initially, they didn't admit. They acted like business as usual, nothing to see here. They haven't done anything wrong. But here comes a British soldier looking for clout. And I remember it went so viral when he first did this. He posted on his Snap, and this is a British soldier with his gear, with his, uniform. He says, they killed an elephant, burnt down this land, and now they're headed home. But hey, when in Rome, something like that. He wrote that, and everything turned upside down. Oops. Everything turned upside down for them, because now people knows the British that did this. I think they fired that British soldier, and obviously he ratted them out. Like, he spoke. I don't even know what was going on through his mind, because how do you admit to burning down 12,000 acres of land and killing an elephant and saying, I think, they blurred his face, as I told you. They protect their soldiers with everything that they have, because maybe they know what they're up to. They're up to no good. But what they, fail to stop is how this image and video of his went viral. So once people found out that it was the British army that was behind that fire, all hell broke loose. And this is, I can actually show you the ambassador's response, the panic. Like, you know how they have to do PR immediately and quickly? That's exactly what happened in this case. Let me show you what she had to say about it. Share screen. This is a video I made a few years back. Yep.
That's right, yes. So there's fire raging in the Loldagus region at the moment. It's been going for a couple of days now. You've got quite tough conditions up there. So you've got high winds, you've got grass that is super dry, and you've got the rains that are late. So if you're a fire, those are perfect conditions to spread rapidly in. So the fire, as I say, has been going on for a couple of days now. So the cause of the fire was part of a British training exercise up there. So as you know, British and Kenyan forces regularly exercise up together in that area. It was an accidental fire that was started, and the army has scrambled very, very quickly up there to dig trenches, fire breaks to try and contain the fire. We've had three helicopters and a crop duster that has been putting water on from above, and 4 fire trucks putting water on from below. So, this is obviously absolutely devastating, and we're doing all we can to get the fire under control. So it certainly would not be set on fire deliberately. So our working assumption is that it is probably an accident, but there will be a full investigation, absolutely.
Okay. And from a PR perspective, I want to read a headline from a UK daily this morning. I don't know what you think about their level of journalism, but they go with the title, Bungling British Troops Spark 10,000-Acre Wildfire on a Nature Reserve in Kenya. Yeah. This looks bad to the High Commission, doesn't it?
Well, you'd be, obviously, you won't be surprised to know that I'm a very big fan of British troops. I think they do a great job. Certainly, they've got a great relationship with the Kenyan troops with whom they exercise together. There's 5.3 billion shillings that has gone into the local economy up there as a result of having the British military base there. And these things, accidents, which we think it is, but as we say, we'll do a full investigation, do happen. So it's not great, and we're really sorry, and we really wish it hadn't happened. And
yeah, that's what the ambassador had to say about it. It's probably an accident, and we're very sorry. And they said they are going to investigate, but did they? Did we hear anything from them after this? But the people that were living around that area, because 12,000 acres is huge, the animals, the wildlife they affected, the people that have to relocate and move. There was one man that lost his life because of this fire, and they were not even going to admit it. They were not even going to say anything about it until this foolish British soldier posted on social media, probably for clout, or probably just, to boast that he was able to kill an elephant. And you know how, for us, we know our wildlife, and we're not really um, shocked by seeing an elephant, or that kind. But for them, it's, I saw an elephant. It's such a huge deal. And for him, it's probably like he was trying to boast, or trying to garner some kind of popularity. And that is what it appears. But good for him. Because of him, we were able to find out, and the British Army admitted. They said they were training, it was an accident. And that's what the lady was saying. And they quickly ran into PR, trying to manage and stop the conversation from going, somewhere else. But they're still training till this day. They're there. Even with all this complaints, like, it's not small complaints that we're talking about. This is killings that we're talking about. This is people losing their lives, fatal car crashes we're talking about. We're talking about rape, the women. That's what we're talking about. But it seems like it's not, big enough for the world to talk about it and to expose it. And it starts from home. So I believe Kenyans need to voice this and push back. I'm seeing someone from Kenya, Jules, said here from Kenya. So, like, the people have to also say, we don't want these people. Remember how, in Central African Republic, there was also, which other country, I believe it was Congo, they were protesting and saying, we don't want these foreign troops on our land. We're going through so much because they're here. They're not actually helping us, they're hurting us. So remove them from our land. And some of them got their answers, and some of them sent away the foreign troops because the governments felt the pressure and they had to do something about it. So the people also have to do something about it, speak up, because the locals, especially the ones that are around that area where the British soldiers are suffering, and they're speaking out. They're giving their testimony. It's just not a lot of people are listening to them. But at least now, as I'm reporting, Kenyan lawmakers, members of parliament, are bringing this case. They're bringing forth the 92-page report, demanding for justice. It's a start, for sure. It is a start. Um, Good evening, Susan. Um, Grand Solar said people should know better than to deal NATO army members. So yeah, that's pretty much what's happening in Kenya. There are so many actually stories that I covered. I don't know if you haven't watched it. There's accusations against British soldiers when it comes to creating broken homes, not just the ones that are, taking it by force, which is great, but also those that are promising and committing to the young ladies here, and they will, create kids with them, and they will leave, and they will make sure that they have no way of contacting them. Credit to the UK courts, it has released, I believe, like 10 people's information. As I said, the British Army protects the names of these people. So even if a son or a daughter or a family member comes and says, I want to see my father, they will never give them any information. But now a UK court ruled, on behalf of the kids that have been, created. They are telling the fathers, the British soldiers that left, that went MIA on the mothers, to disclose their information. And this is important because they have to take responsibility. You've created this human being, right? Take accountability. Raise that kid, even if you're not going to be there physically. Pay up, like, make sure that this kid goes to school, make sure that this kid gets his basic needs met. So at the very least, that conversation has begun. This British soldiers are being held a little bit, from all the crimes we've talked about, they're being called out, or there's justice being served, just like, I would say, 10% of the time, and it needs to be 100. That's what we're talking about. um And there's another thing that the community is accusing the British soldiers of, and that is silencing the people. And I quote, this is what they're saying: they're interfering and obstructing to hinder the delivery of justice. So when this report and this study is being done, the personnel were silencing people. Um, they were obstructing the, like, they were working against the people that are trying to get to the bottom of things. And that's another crime as well. Like, they keep committing crime after crime after crime. And when are we going to say enough is enough? When are we going to say that's the last person you've unalived? When are we going to say that's the last civilian that's going to suffer? When are we going to say that's the last woman you're going to rape? So, we have to also, as a community, stand up, say no, and push back. As I said, this is a good start. I do believe this is a great start that the Kenyan government, especially the members of parliament, are raising this up. I hope it leads to something, and somewhere it's not just talk. We can actually see justice being served to those kids that have been created, justice to those that lost their lives, justice to the Agnes Wanjiru's family, justice to those that lost their lives because they were not being safe. There are so many stories and cases that have been reported, and if you go and look at this report, it goes into details of like what exactly they are being accused of, what they did, what the community is saying, and so on and so forth. Let me read the chats. Africa, Kenya native said, Britain has never left Kenya, and that's uh, because of this puppet, Britain has in power. Don't hold them accountable. Yeah, as I said earlier, it's like a different form. Kenya was colonized by the British. All those atrocities were committed, and then Kenya fights for independence, Kenya gets independence, and then now it comes packaged in a different way. Let's have a military training for the Kenya military, and let's have this partnership, and let's also use your grounds because it's like the most conducive to train our people. And they come, and then these are the things that happen. And what makes it worse is that there's no accountability. They're not paying for what they're doing. That is the most horrible thing in this situation. You commit the crime in a foreign country. Like, imagine a Kenyan um, army or Kenyan soldier doing this in the UK. Just imagine that. What could have happened to him or her? So it's very unfortunate that they get to do this on our land, but you can't even fathom, think about doing the exact same thing somewhere else. You are going to pay the price, which should be the thing. That is what needs to happen. If you do the crime, you do the time. But it doesn't happen. They flee. I think it was like 5 months ago, we did a report where a British soldier raped a woman, and if he fled the country, he left Kenya. There's no justice. Why? How? How is this possible? We need to change things, and they need to change immediately, because other countries are not having it, as um, the people are not having it, and we're seeing it reflect because the governments have no choice but to kick out that army. Or do you remember how much America was upset when Niger kicked out their soldiers, and the base, I think it's one of the biggest base America has, either in Africa or outside of there. It's something like that. They went crazy because there's so much they're also doing behind the scenes. Allegedly, there's so many things that they're doing behind the scenes outside of training your forces for you, helping the community, and training themselves and their soldiers. There's some things that uh, people talk about on the ground. Behind the scenes, they're even into more sinister stuff. So is it really worth it? Is it really worth it if you can't even say no to your people being unalived in your own land, and you can't even question it. You can't even get the identity of the person because they're highly protected and they can leave the country as soon as the case is brought up. That's what's been happening. And you see the audacity that these people have. After Agnes Wanjuru lost her life in 2012, leaving her newborn child because a British soldier allegedly unalived her. That man didn't pay the price for 15 years. And last month, when he was arrested, and when they were mentioning about extraditing him to Kenya, the man said the man said, "I'm not gonna go." Like, what do you mean? So they have that audacity of committing the crime, but also acting like it's not worth their time. It's not worth being asked for. Like, why are you asking me about this? I'm not going to go to Kenya. But will that happen in reverse? We all know the answer to that. It's not going to happen. So it's high time, it's about time that we say no to that. And so um yeah, that is what we have today. Hello, Buck. Miss Wengel, Miss Wengel, DC loves you, mom. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I love DC. Thank you so much. And so yeah, it's frustrating to sit down and watch and keep doing reports as well. Like every time something happens, we talk about it. Every time you talk about it, you hope to see some kind of justice, some kind of change happening. And every time you don't see that, you don't see that happening. So it's frustrating, especially the ones that like we have to come and talk about this. Like, it, can you imagine reading the sad stories, but people what they're going through, to look at their tears, to look at how they're suffering, and then you don't see anything happening. It doesn't matter how many times it happens. It's frustrating. It really is. And it's like, even last month when we talked about the British soldier's name being released, it was such a small thing, but it was such a big deal for us, and it was a win because we don't get to see justice. We don't get to see people getting what they deserve, and it's frustrating to say the least. Wangari, hello, hi sister. um yeah, thank you, Buck. Yeah, so it's frustrating, but we hope to see results. Now that this report is out, the members of parliament in Kenya are calling out British soldiers. Let's wait and see something happening, because we look forward to reporting some good news, right? Yeah. So, anything to add, fam? If you have anything to add to this conversation, I'll have a few minutes of chat with you, and if not, I'll see you tomorrow the same time. We will do. We will see you live, right? So yeah, that is what's happening. And kudos to, I would like to say well done for bringing this up, the members of parliament. As much as we're hard on our lawmakers, which we should be, are they're there for a reason. They're there to serve us, right? They're public servants, although it might not look like that, because they believe that they are like lords over us. But it's good to say, okay, thank you for bringing this up, when they actually do something um, positive, or something that is going to be helpful to the public, to the community. um, I'm listening, ma'am. Thank you, Buck, for listening. Thank you, I appreciate it, for giving me the time to to share this information with you. Well, I'm not seeing any other chats. With that being said, I shall I shall see you tomorrow, same time. I don't know what time it is where you are watching from. For me, it's 7:35 p.m. Um, and it's evening for me. So yeah, thank you. Thank you, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully, with some good news. Seriously, we need some more good news around here. Stay blessed. Have a beautiful morning, night, evening, wherever you are at. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.